All right, welcome back to another episode of the Business Freedom Podcast. This is Lars Hedenborg, founder of Real Estate B School and co-founder of High Performance Real Estate Advisors. We're out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been at the business building game for a dozen years, and we've been working to build Real Estate B School for 6.5 years now. And so it is not without a lot of pain and suffering that I bring everything I can to this podcast to make your journey easier. And we just went through a series on planning and goal achievement, and how do you see something and then make it happen or bring it into existence. And it's something that I've been really good at, and I don't know why that is. I've just been good at kind of identifying what I want for my life or my business, and like, how do you break that down so you can actually achieve it? And so that's what we went through. And it was a 6-part series that you want to take advantage of jumping in and checking that out. And so what I want to talk about today is something that kind of falls a little bit in line with changing what you have in your life and the way you show up. And it's called habit stacking. And the title of today's podcast is What Habit Stacking Has Allowed Me to Achieve in the Last Year. So what habit stacking has allowed me to achieve in the last year? And so I did some of this on an app. I don't know if I'd recommend the app. It was called Streaks, Streaks. And it allows you to track how often you do a thing. And so for me, the 6 habits that I was able to build up some consistency around, it's not the only things that I do or focus on. They're really helpful though. And you may get some benefit from even knowing what they are. So here are the 6 that I tracked. I actually stopped tracking them recently because they just became part of who I am. One was a gallon of water. So to drink a gallon of water daily. The other is what I call a Meadow Report with my wife, 30-minute eyeball to eyeball, where I'm getting a download of her day. It's called Meadow Report. This may be a total lie, but I heard someone tell this. Tony Robbins actually said this, where in caveman days, women would go out and go into the meadows, meadows that were sometimes far away from where they lived, and they'd have to sort of know which berries were good to eat, which were not to eat, how you get back, to where you live from the meadows, and picking berries and all of that. And so they would have this, they'd have to be able to download their Meadow Report. So women naturally have this thing in them every day. They need to have a Meadow Report with their caveman. And so it's a 30-minute time where I'm just really attentive in tune. I'm not solving anything. I'm just getting a download from Julie. So that's number 2. Number 1 is drink a gallon of water. Number 2 is get the Meadow Report. Number 3, this was my number 1, but just in the order that I'm going, is to read the Bible for 30 minutes. So to read the Bible for 30 minutes. And so I've never really read the Bible before 2 years ago. And now it's pretty much 5 days a week I'm in the Word. Then meditate for 15 minutes. So I do something called the Abide app, IBIDE. That's number 4. Number 5 is gratitude. So I do a process, and this is on my phone, where I have a 5-minute journal. So that's in the morning and at night. It's number 5. And then number 6 was workout for 45 minutes. And some of these, I didn't go for 7 days a week. Like, my goal isn't to work out 7 days a week, 45 minutes. Those 6 habits I didn't have at one point, and I committed to establishing one habit at a time. So I just knew that, we're chronically hydrated. Something like 92% of people are chronically hydrated. I'm like, how easy would it be to buy a gallon jug of, I think the container I have is called 3 Drops of Life? I'm looking it up here. Water bottle. Yeah, 3 Drops of Life. It's a 128 ounce water bottle. Super cool. It's a low tech just has the time and where you should be on your water. So that's the first one I tackled. I got that running pretty well to the point where I could move on to another one. And then I added, the workout one came later. I think I added the Bible was one of the first ones I added. Again, I keep forgetting that one because that's probably the first habit that I installed. And then I would go right from the Bible to the meditation, right from the meditation to the gratitude. So I'd actually knock 3 of them out in an hour in the morning. So, and then the workout was 5 days a week, which I tackled, and then the water, and then the Meadow Report. Meadow Report's been the hardest one. At the end of the day, it's kind of the most challenging time. You want to zone out. You don't have a lot of juice left, gas in the tank. So my point is that I only took one at a time. I only worked on getting one habit installed at a time. And I would have just triggers that I would set up. So, now a habit that I'm really working on hard is to eat 90% plant-based whole foods. And so I have habits around my diet that don't support that thing in particular. So I've studied health over the years. I went to Tony Robbins' Life Mastery back in 2010, maybe. I feel like probably 2010. It was in Fiji. It was amazing. And so that's when I first got turned on to sort of plants, are probably a better way to achieve health than eating a lot of dead animals. And so now I'm finally sort of coming back to it. I read a book called, what was the book called? Man, I got to find it for you now because it's really, really good. It's by, I'm pulling up my Audible. My next podcast episode is my 5 favorite books of all time. And this might actually be on it. It's called Eat to Live by Joel Fuhrman. And so now that's another habit that I'm working on. It's been a month since I've had a dead animal. And I feel amazing. It's just been phenomenal to know that I could do something like that. And it's every bit of 90%, maybe more than 90% is really plant-based whole food, like just super. Like as I'm doing this, I'm peeling an orange, so I'm allowed to eat 4 fruit a day with the whole fruit, not juice. And so that's one that I'm working on. And so the challenge I have for you are, what one habit could you work on as long as it took to have it become part of your everyday? Like I said, I kept skipping the Bible part. It probably was the gratitude, the Bible reading, and the meditation all kind of came foundationally. The last one that I really, really developed was the working out 45 minutes, 5 days a week. That one's been really tough. It still remains it's still my toughest one. And so what's the one habit you can start to establish now that'll make the biggest difference, right? If you're Gary Keller, if you've read the book One Thing, like what's the one thing that you can focus on right now that'll make everything easier? There's that one thing question, and maybe it's gratitude. Maybe you have this amazing life that you take for granted. Maybe it's a Meadow Report, 30 minutes of focused, attention to your spouse once a day where you're just listening, you're not solving problems. Maybe it's water that'll change your life. Maybe it's sleep. That's another habit that I stacked in all of this. For me, less than 7 is not good. 7.5 is about where I'm good on average. If I get 8+ for a period of time, I feel invincible. I went on our annual honeymoon. I take my wife Julie away for an annual honeymoon, and we went to Aruba for 7 nights. And I think there was only one night that I got less than 8 hours of sleep, and I felt like on fire. And I was coming off of 6 months of no alcohol and no sugar. And so I did drink on October 12th of 2019 after not having had a drink since April 15th. And that was just another habit. I had gotten in the habit, not drinking. I wouldn't drink at home. I got in the habit of drinking, on date nights on Saturdays, I got in the habit of drinking when I travel anywhere. And I just kind of gave all that up for 6 months just to give my body a rest from any alcohol or sugar whatsoever. And so what's the one thing you can do to make a difference? And then once you get that established, take your time getting that one thing established. What's the next thing you could do on top of that? I mean, I've given you some kind of random examples here. I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, and I really hope that this served you. None of this stuff is difficult. You know, if you eat a crap diet, you don't get enough sleep, you don't drink water, you drink soft drinks, you know, you aren't in the Word, you don't have a gratitude practice, you're not connected to your spouse, you know, all those things with simple, deliberate, intentional, you know, changes in your little habits can make all the difference in the world. And so with that, I just challenge you to change one thing over the next 30 to 60 days, as long as it takes to get the habit installed. And then you keep that habit going and you just add the next thing. And what's that next thing on top of that? And then if you're looking to change a habit, what are the triggers in your environment that take you away from having that thing happen more naturally without as much effort? That's the next part. So that's all I've got. Much love and respect for you. If you're at the point in your business, you know that you need a different approach. You've kind of repeated the same year, 3 years in a row. It's Groundhog Year. You're not making progress in your business. You're not making progress in your personal life. You're just stuck. You've got to reach out. You've got to connect with us. If you qualify for our pilot program, you could get 30 days of free coaching, which helps you build out a 3-year vision, a 1-year plan, 90-day world. What are the rocks and measurables that we'll work on together? So go to realestatebschool.com. Your next steps there are obvious, and we'll see you over there.